Hey, 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 secondhand soul fans! Hey, 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 secondhand soul fans. It's me, your friendly neighborhood soul man, Lyle Dynamite Miller. And I'm here with...
Kathy Fern.
And Dave Drower. What's up?
What's up? How we doing, everybody? How we doing?
You know, I never get sick of watching that opening montage. You guys nailed it. I just love it. It's just so good. It's like in my head, like a regular TV show.
Yeah.
It's definitely regular. It's definitely regular. That's for sure.
It is.
Yes. Yep. Every Wednesday night we premiere here.
That's right. Every Wednesday.
If Facebook gets their act together, they'll have all the videos that I actually upload like on the page. That would be a nice change, Facebook. It would really make my life a lot easier. But hey, let's not start with Dave goes off type of nonsense.
We'll save that for another day.
That's right. All right, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, we're here at episode 24 finally. You know, if you guys are having any trouble on Facebook, you can always go to our YouTube page. If you go to the website, secondhandsoulband.com, the YouTube link is right there. You click on that. YouTube usually gives us no problem. I watched it on YouTube last week with all of you who showed up. But yeah, YouTube and Facebook are both options to watch the show every Wednesday. So make sure you check us out. This week, we're going to do a little over underrated as usual. We got a few interesting stories here. We're going to talk about some interesting album covers. We're going to cover the Rumble in the Jungle, talk about that. And then we're going to meet some friends of the band, or a friend of the band. And then we got our Q&A. So let's get started.
All right, my friends. That's right.
Coming in early with Over Underrated. That's right. The segment on Secondhand Soul Band Show where we look at an artist's career. We decide whether they're overrated, underrated, or getting just the right amount of praise. And who we got this week?
Today we got a real diva, Lyle. We have a real diva. And this diva...
Celine Dion? We did Celine Dion.
No, Celine Dion is not as much of a diva as this particular artist. And it's not... It's just a personality that makes. I don't want to give it away, but here it is. It's Kanye West. This guy deserves to be on this segment. Let me tell you, I'll just go off on this guy right now. He is so overrated. I want to throw up every time I have to listen to his music. And I say this all the time. I think this segment is really about what people do to advance music. What artists do. Right? So there's plenty of people that might be in the music business. That doesn't make them an artist. They if they're not pushing the envelope, if they're not creating art. And that's a subjective thing. And I know you're going to argue with me because I already know you, Lyle. You're going to say, oh, he sold this many albums. Oh, he did this. He did that. But any kind of actual musical value, this guy actually didn't even bring to the party. He has somewhat smart business sense, I'll tell you that. That's why he has fashion lines. This is why he hires hardcore, amazing musicians from Chicago to basically put any actual musical attributes into his music. But from his perspective, his creativity on a rapper, I call it rap just because I keep trying to hear him sing, and it's like, it's not quite there. It's really not quite there for me.
Good poker face, Lyle.
and
I'm taking it all in. I'm listening.
Go ahead, because you're gonna.
No, I mean it's
go ahead, take your shot.
I'm looking for some valid points. Like Kanye West, I'm not crazy about his personality, etc. And I know how people sensationalize things just to get noticed. But looking at the music, I think he's a talented musician. I think he's a talented lyricist. I think he's a good
well,
rapper.
wait, it's so repetitive that it's not artistic.
It's not artistic because it's repetitive. Have you ever heard the
No,
song
that's
"Why
not
Can't
what I
We Be
said.
Friends"?
Yeah.
I just said it's so repetitive it's not even artistic, and then what's the message that it's trying to send? If the message for 30 songs is the same exact thing, and then you have no, like, what makes good rap, in my opinion, is the person that could say the same thing 30 million different ways. That's what brings away the singing aspect and still makes it amazing art in a music perspective for me. And how can you bring in a chorus that's sung that adds to your song? And Kanye West, it's just,
Yeah.
man.
So I think. So here's one. Here's just
Man.
one. So
Yes,
let's
please,
look at
let's go.
Gold Digger. Let's look at Gold Digger. He took the
Jamie
song.
Foxx made that song.
Yes,
and if
he
it
took the
wasn't,
song.
if it wasn't for that sample,
Right.
it would
So
suck.
I'll let you talk for quite a while, Dave. So Jamie Foxx's song was about being broke down, being tore off. Maybe you just lost your job, and the only person you got is your woman. I got a woman way over town who's good to me. Oh yeah, no matter what happens to me, this woman is good to me. Kanye West took that chorus and put it in a song about a woman who's only using a man for his money. And that is the contrast. He flipped that thing on his head, directly on his head. The polar opposite of that song is what his song is about. And that's why that sample was used. It wasn't just random. That's artistic. And that whole song Gold Digger is about.
Great.
I mean, that's just one. That's just one.
You're going to have to come up with a lot more because.
Okay, then what was the song Kathy was just talking about?
That's one of the only songs that I could actually somewhat listen to. And the reason why is that Jamie Foxx nails Ray Charles every single time. That guy's an artist. That guy.
Are you saying that Jamie Foxx is more of an artist than Kanye
West?
Hands down.
Come on, bro. Kanye West has produced like 500 songs. That are on the radio. Like 500.
Okay.
500. He's been producing music since 1997.
Yeah.
And if he weren't good, they wouldn't keep calling him for 24 years.
I mean, I just think that Kanye West is so interesting. I think he's a little nutty when it comes down to, like, I don't know if I'd want to hang out with him or discuss politics with him, but that doesn't make him a bad artist. I think that, his interesting take on things and the way he puts things together, he's got not only artistic genius, but marketing genius. He kind of puts it all together. Yeah, genius.
Yeah, genius.
He puts it, and I don't necessarily listen to rap, but he's one of the people that I like to listen to because there's always something interesting that he puts out there, and I'm like, what does he mean by that? And I start to think about it. So great art makes you think whether it's hold on, it's great art makes you think whether it's music or painting or cartoons or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If it stops and makes you think, that's great art. And maybe you don't particularly like the taste of that person, but it's still great art. It's still someone's ability to challenge the norm or to spin a message on its head or deliver it in a completely different way that makes you stop and notice. And I've noticed him. Yeah. So I agree with you, Lyle.
I want to throw up. This is
Dave,
unbelievable.
We're just talking about it.
No. And exactly, you nail it on the head on art. And then you want to tell me that Kanye West, this guy is the one that's pushing the envelope? Give me a break.
Yeah, he is. He's very controversial.
Absolutely. He's a big part of...
Controversial with the way he behaves, with the way he makes statements.
his artwork.
With his political BS. But again,
I'm not even including that.
That's not even what this segment is about. It's like, what do you do for music? And
so maybe we have to have a segment about what is this segment about.
He's an R. Kelly, and I would.
Well, I would even say that I like art. Yeah, I would even say I like some of the stuff that R. Kelly has done.
Okay,
is more that's probably than he is.
That's probably a bad example.
Well, no, because they're like right. But
I heard a comedian.
How so? I don't get it. How so?
I heard a comedian, Colin Quinn. He said something about when somebody does something pretty well, but then they maybe aren't always on the up and up. They write something good, like Phil Spector, but he's a murderer. but Be My Baby was a pretty good song.
You know? But I don't think I could equate anything Kanye West has
Give me
done
another
to
example
what R.
of
Kelly
his,
has
of
done.
his artistic genius. That's what
Jesus Walks. What was the song
Oh.
you were just saying, Kathy?
Yeah, Workout Plan.
Workout Plan.
I was very entertained by that. I mean, you know what while I
That's
think
what music is.
he's a little bit of a narcissist and takes himself way too seriously. When I watch that video and hear that song, that's totally tongue in cheek. So
Yeah, the
maybe
wit.
I got a wrong read on him because I was totally entertained by that.
Credit for any of the art in there. I've already said that this guy is smart enough to pay really good musicians.
But Dave, that's the
Are you
music
kidding me?
business.
You
That's
should
the
see
music
Michael
business.
Jackson would get the top guys in the world to come and just engineer his stuff. He would fly people in. He'd buy new equipment. Of course, he's going to get the best possible arsenal to back him up.
Well,
but that doesn't mean he's not a good artist.
Hello.
All right,
we're a cover band.
Let's move on before I fucking stop this whole fucking show. Because this is ridiculous.
Well, anyway, so yeah,
Okay.
I'll say he's getting just the right amount of praise. I think he's
Me
getting
too.
just the
right amount of praise. This guy doesn't deserve half of what he has, and in 30 years he's going to be an MC Hammer. There you go.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
All
next. So our next segment is called Cover Story. And this came up because I had Pandora running and an album came up. It was OJ's Message in the Music. And the album cover was a picture I was like, what am I looking at here? And it was interesting. And I've always noticed that album covers from when I was growing up were always kind of like a little weird. Like I didn't always get the picture. So Dave, if you want to put that picture up, it's actually, I researched it and it's the Orchestra Gio Malebo. It's a Zairian band that is known for a song that they released for the Rumble in the Jungle boxing event in 1974. So it's actual musicians that dress that way. So, when most people see a picture like this, they think, oh, somebody's making fun of somebody, but this is the actual artist. This is what they look like and how they dress in their culture. So I just thought it was an interesting cover and it made me pay attention. And then I started researching some other albums, and another one that came up was Kanye West's first album, The College Dropout. It was in 2004. And he's always had striking images on his album covers, and this one was different from anything else you'd see in the hip hop section of the record store, which is exactly what he wanted. He told the designer he wanted to bring a sense of elegance and style to the contrast, the harsh image of rap. And he's wearing the costume of the character that would become known as the Dropout Bear. And that would also be featured on the covers of his next two albums. And he chose the photo of West alone in the bleachers and surrounded it with a frame made of ornaments found in a book of illustrations from the 1500s. So just an interesting cover. Then I found one for Michael Jackson in 1982 when he did Thriller. It's one of the best selling and most awarded albums of all time. And you've pretty much all seen this album cover. The image, he was looking sharp in a white suit with black underneath. It was shot by a photographer, Dick Zimmerman. And according to Zimmerman, the suit that Jackson is pictured wearing was actually the one the photographer himself was wearing the day of the shoot. And when Jackson asked him if he could wear something like it for the cover, Zimmerman took it off and lent it to him. So he said the shoot lasted about 6 hours. So Michael wore his suit for 6 hours and then gave it back to him.
Man. First, I just wanted to say, ain't no way in the world I would have gave him my suit with that damn Jerry curl in his head. That was a white suit.
Or if you were giving it away, you weren't going to take it back.
Yeah. I would be like, you don't want to put this suit on with that shit in your hair. No way. Okay, I just had to say that. I saw this white suit. That was somebody else's suit. You crazy as hell.
Yeah.
No way.
You're dissing Michael Jackson and then praising Kanye West. It's the crazy.
No, he's not dissing him.
I'm talking about the Jerry curl.
It's the crazy.
I wouldn't give a damn if it was Michael Jackson.
Anybody.
Nobody. Man. That stuff does not come out. No way. Did you see Coming to America? Okay.
So his later style was much better. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, I mean the Jerry curl. Whoever made that needs their ass whooped. Period. Yeah. Like all they did was make Heilig Meier, whoever that is who does the Scotch Brite people, they made them a lot of money. Oh man, you didn't grow up in the 80s. People squirting that stuff. I can still smell it. I can smell that crap.
No,
everywhere. Jerry Curl activator. That's what they call it. Curl activator.
Jerry Curl was my Aquanet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that too. and everybody had the tall.
You had to scrape it every once in a while. When your mom told you had to clean the bathroom, you actually had to get a razor blade and scrape it off the counter. That was the only way to clean it. It wasn't
Because it was
coming
like
off.
glue, basically. Yeah.
It was a layer.
Yep. I'm
And
telling
then
you.
I don't know how it didn't stick in my hair and ruin my hair.
Yeah.
How did it come out with regular shampoo? I don't know.
Oh man, my father, I wanted a Jerry curl so bad too. My father was like, no. And I was so mad, but thank you, Dad. It was right.
See, Mom and Dad always know best.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so on to the next segment here. We've got one called musical sports. There's a lot of correlation between music and sports, and athletes are praised and uplifted because of their skills, but musicians often are not. Athletes are usually judged by hardcore statistics: how many home runs, how many touchdowns, how many yards did they get. But musicians are more of an art form, and just like fine art, it's left up to one's taste to decide if it's a success or not. And, competition itself is the entertainment source for sports, but musicians' competition is many times internal. We're trying harder to do more. We're dealing with a lot of things behind the scenes, and then we just put on our brave face for the front, for the stage. So people don't always see what we have to work through to get to where we are that day. So, athletes work to be the best, but they know when they get there. They won the Super Bowl. They are the best hitter in baseball. But musicians have to assume or have a much bigger outcome before we can get measured, like huge album sales, concert ticket sales, or nowadays social media. You have 5 million followers on Instagram. So, and all that can be arranged through agents and promoters and, unfortunately, payola. But no amount of money will give the ability to throw a touchdown or always hit a home run. So that's the difference between musicians and sports, but they are very correlated.
That's proving my point. You're proving my point. Yes, Kanye West.
How's that?
That's all I say.
It doesn't mean he's not an artist. This is totally not the same thing.
That's exactly.
He's not letting it go, Lyle.
No.
No, wait.
There's no fucking way.
I want to hear. How
again, we've just explained how you could just pay for followers. You could pay for.
It doesn't mean he's not a good artist. It's just a different way of getting
you could
done.
create that, and that doesn't make you a great artist. So that's what I'm saying.
No, that's not what I said. What I said was the measurement of an artist is different than a measurement of a sports person. The measurement is different. It doesn't mean the art is better. It doesn't mean a Super Bowl champion is better than.
You don't use that other stuff to.
No, because it's like this, Dave. Like how me, you, and Kathy all have different opinions of Kanye West's level of talent.
Right.
So the three of us can look at me and Michael Jordan and all say that he's a better athlete, unequivocally. Yes. Anybody can look at that and see that.
There's no arguing, really. There's not a lot of arguing.
Based on
and
actual
if it's arguing, it's like the two top people. Like, is Michael Jordan better than LeBron James? That's the question. And they didn't even play together.
Question too. We're from Chicago.
Exactly, but you can look at statistics.
Right, that's
multiple times. Yeah.
Right.
And LeBron hates to answer that question, but it's okay.
But then to say, is Billy Joel better than Bruce Springsteen? Like, how do you answer that question? You can't. They're both multi-million album selling artists. You can't say which one's better.
Right.
It's all personal taste. That's all we're saying. So But getting back to music and sports, one of the biggest events of that would kind of combine the two was the Rumble in the Jungle. It was a historic boxing event that was held in Zaire, which is now the Democratic Republic of Congo, and for her today's geography lesson. It was held on October 30th, 1974, and it pitted the undefeated world heavyweight champion of George Foreman against challenger Muhammad Ali. And he was the former heavyweight champion, and it had an attendance of 60,000 people. Ali won by a knockout, putting Foreman down just before the end of the 8th round. It has been called arguably the greatest sporting event of the 20th century. And Ali came in as a 4-1 underdog against the unbeaten, heavy-hitting Foreman. And the fight is famous for Ali's introduction of the rope-a-dope tactic. I remember watching these fights with my dad, and we never missed one. It was so much fun. It was watched by a record estimated television audience of 1 billion viewers worldwide. Back then, that was a ridiculous amount of people to watch something. It became the world's most watched live television broadcast at the time. And it included a record estimated 50 million viewers watching the fight pay-per-view on closed-circuit theater TV. It grossed an estimated $100 million, which inflation adjusted is $500 million in worldwide revenue. And decades later, the bout would be the subject of the Academy Award-winning documentary film When We Were Kings. It's since become one of the most famous fights of all time because it resulted in Ali, against the odds, regaining the title against younger and stronger Foreman. This is when Don King really got his feet wet with promotion. He arranged this fight with a music businessman, Jerry Masucci, and took famed musicians to play at the venue. He managed to get Ali and Foreman to sign separate contracts saying that they would fight for him if they could each get a $5 million purse. That amount of money was quite enormous for those days, and it was purported to prevent other top boxing promoters from attempts to arrange a Foreman versus Ali match under their own power. So no one else would try to take away King's plan. However, King did not have the money. So he was not welcome to stage an event of such a profile in the United States, and he began seeking an outside country to stage and sponsor the event. Fred Wyman, an American advisor to Zaire's dictator, Mobutu Sese Seko, persuaded Mobutu that the publicity such a high-profile event would generate would help his regime, and Mobutu agreed for the fight to be held in his country. Libyan dictator Muammar, how am I saying it? Muammar Gaddafi. I know how to say that.
Yeah,
he came as a primary financial sponsor of the event, and he provided the purse money for the athletes and covered all the other major expenses. So King had pulled together a bunch of different corporations, a film company, an investment company, a producer, a video company, and then put it all together under Don King Productions. And although he's most closely associated with the fight, Hemdale and Video Techniques, with whom King was a director, were the About's official co-promoters. It was broadcast on closed-circuit television in theaters in the United States and over-the-air television throughout the world. The play-by-play commentary was done by Colonel Bob Sheridan, and color commentary was done by Jim Brown, David Frost, and Joe Frazier. So in 1967, then the champion Ali was stripped of his title and suspended from boxing for 3.5 years for his refusal to comply with the draft and enter the U.S. Army. And in 1970, he first regained a boxing license and promptly fought comeback fights against Jerry Quarry and Oscar Bonavena in an attempt to regain the heavyweight championship from the then undefeated Joe Frazier. In a bout dubbed the fight of the century, Frazier won a unanimous decision, leaving Ali fighting other contenders for years in an attempt at a new title shot. Meanwhile, Foreman had quickly risen from a gold medal victory at the 1968 Olympics to the top ranks of professional heavyweights. He was feared for his punching power, size, and sheer physical dominance, and nonetheless underestimated by Frazier and his performers, and knocked Ali down 6 times in 2 rounds before the bout was stopped. And he further solidified his hold over the heavyweight division by demolishing the only man besides Frazier at the time to delete Ali, Ken Norton, in 2 rounds. At 25, the younger and stronger Foreman seemed an overwhelming favorite against the well-worn 32-year-old Ali. They spent much of the time training, getting acclimated to the tropical African climate. It was originally set to happen on September 25th, but Foreman was cut above his right eye by an accidental elbow thrown by his sparring partner, ended up having 11 stitches, and they had to move the fight to October 30th. That alone, I thought, was an interesting fact. Like all of that preparing for this event, tickets, people, promoters, food, seats, whatever, they actually had to move everything.
Yeah.
So
how many stitches did they give the sparring partner?
Yeah, he got his butt kicked, I'm sure. But what was so amazing about it, there was a 3-night-long music festival to hype the fight, and it was called Zaire 74. It took place as scheduled, even though the fight got moved, September 22nd to September 24th, including performances by James Brown, Celia Cruz, the Fania All-Stars, B.B. King, Miriam Makeba, the Spinners, Bill Withers, the Crusaders, and Manu Dibango, as documented in the 2008 film Soul Power. I highly recommend that film. It was really a great show. And the championship was scheduled for 4 a.m. local time to appear on live closed-circuit television in the Eastern time zone of U.S. at 10 p.m., and Zach Clayton was selected as referee for the fight. So if you wanted to know what the Rumble in the Jungle was, there you go.
Man, it's this always cracks me up too when younger people born in, I'd say, the 80s, like they see George Foreman as this guy. That's the guy with the grill. He's got the cook. He's the cook guy. No, George Foreman was like Debo, like
all
from
I
Debo
remember,
from Friday.
Yeah, I remember he just named every kid George. He had
Right,
like
yeah.
7 or 8 kids, and he named them all George.
But
It wasn't
man,
there even a daughter, and he named her George.
I think he had all boy. You know what? That sounds familiar. That's possible. That's possible he did that too. But yeah, God, I just remember him being there's a movie. I think it's called Let's Do It Again with Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby. And he has a scene in the beginning of it. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah.
But yeah, George Foreman was like
Yeah, you did some
poorly.
acting too.
Like he was
Yeah.
looked at like Mike Tyson back then. Like he would hit people and break their
Oh.
ribs. He would break his sparring partner's ribs. Maybe the guy got him back for that. Maybe that's what happened. But
He saw his
even
opportunity.
even Ali Boumaier, they were saying Ali kill him. That's what they were saying about
Oh.
George Foreman because he was the villain in this story, and
And now
he
you
was.
see him, he's so like kind and nice
Yep.
and fun on
Look at this. You
TV.
can make your hamburgers on the little. That's a guy trying to get into heaven now.
Don't
This
you
guy used
think
to kill
about
people.
as we are musicians and we dabble with fame sometimes, like how are we going to be remembered when we're 85 years old in the nursing home in the rocking chair and say, yeah, I used to rock and roll in my day.
Oh man. Yeah.
And people will be like, really?
I feel like that right now.
Well, I'll tell you this: we know who George Foreman is. Okay, I know you've been dishing on the millennials, but we know who George Foreman is. We're not stupid. All right, we might have not heard. We might have not watched all the Perry Mason shows, or the Madlocks or the other ones, but we definitely know who George Foreman is because.
All right.
And then he fought. Didn't he fight again? He fought like when he was 50, like 48, 50
so,
years
yeah.
old.
This is why all of his commercials, it's very clear that he has some issues. Like, why does he have issues? Let me find out. We're inquisitive people. We weren't born in the late 90s, okay? This is a different situation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Concussion.
man.
Yeah, concussion protocol. Yeah.
Memories. So yeah, let's talk about some friends of the Secondhand Soul Band. So today we're going to talk with Dave Downer. He's a good friend of mine. We figured out we've known each other maybe about 40 years now. And he runs the band, the Rhythm Rockets. He's been a mentor to me as a band leader. So we've always been able to depend on each other to bounce things off of and talk about, issues of being a band leader and being a musician in the band at the same time. So I sat down with Dave the other night and we had a great conversation. So let's hear it.
Hey, Dave, how are you doing?
Wonderful.
Hey, everybody, this is Dave Downer, a great friend of mine, known each other a really long time. And we just wanted to check in with you and see how things are going and what you've been up to with all this COVID craziness going on.
I can tell you not a whole lot.
Us too. So tell me, you have a couple different bands that you've been working with. And so tell us about that.
Well, this December 31st, it'll be 24 years with the Rhythm Rockets.
Wow.
Of course, this last year probably shouldn't count, right?
Right? Just forget it altogether.
And then last January, I finally decided to pull the pin on starting another group. So I was toying with the idea for about a year and kind of nervous about all of it, wondering if it's something I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we went to Paris for our New Year's Eve with the family and everything, I just thought about it and said, okay, I'm going to do it.
Cool. And so tell us about that project.
That is a 60s soul rhythm and blues band. It's
Yeah.
called Chicago Soul Company. It's going to be 10 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Why more pieces? I don't quite understand.
Wasn't enough before.
Wasn't enough of a headache before, right?
How many
So-
are in the Rhythm Rockets?
Seven.
Okay.
Even that gets to be a bit of a headache, but
I know your pain.
yeah. And then I thought, well, why not add 3 more?
Why not?
So we're going to base that band off of Wilson Pickett, Sam and Dave, Jackie Wilson, the Stax Records
Nice.
era, and just that stuff. We're not going to be doing anything else around that realm.
Okay.
So we've been rehearsing since May.
Uh-huh.
We only get together 3 hours a month. The same place you guys have gone to, Jam Lab.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I cannot seem to nail down is a vocalist.
Okay.
That's the one thing that we're still missing, and we've auditioned people, and it just doesn't seem to be clicking.
Keep looking. You'll find that person. You
Yeah,
will
I hope
find
so.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've worked together a lot and we've known each other a really long time, and you've been a mentor to me in many different ways. So I wanted to thank you for that, first of all.
I
But
think,
I've learned a lot of things from you over the years.
think maybe almost 30 years.
Probably something like that.
30.
But who's counting?
Right, exactly. I think we were both thinner at the time, and probably had more hair.
You, not me.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot of things from you. But one of the things I learned that was really important, I think, was to sort of focus in on a niche and not try to be the band that plays every single song, and find your lane and stay in it. And that's worked really
Exactly.
well for me. Every once in a while someone will say, oh, let's do an 80s song, oh, let's do a current song, and it's kind of like and we have such good feedback with our audience when they tell us we love your set list. So, and that's really something I learned from you, just to kind of stay in your lane and just do it really well, and that works really good for us. So
Yeah, well, I've always kept that with the Rhythm Rockets for the last 4 years. And you always get that person that says, well, the audience really wants to hear us play, Van Halen's Hot for Teacher. It's like,
well, what does the Rhythm Rockets play? What kind of music do you guys play?
So we've concentrated on 40s and 50s rhythm and blues. We don't do any of the Chicago. I guess we've sort of delved into that, but the Muddy Waters and that kind of stuff. We do larger band stuff from the 40s and 50s.
Mhm.
That kind of swings. We're not a swing band, but it kind of swings. It's very up tempo. A lot of pop tunes from those eras in that rhythm and blues stuff. And the other people who have been in and out of this band, I don't know how yours is, but oh, God, we must have had 30, 40 people filter in and out through our band throughout the
that
year.
many years, of course. Yeah.
They always want to pull in a song. Oh yeah, let's do Mustang Sally. And why? Everybody else is doing it. Let's
right.
do this. Why?
Yeah.
And then during the big craze of the swing bands during the late 90s, everybody had to hear Jump, Jive, and Wail. Well, we would do it because it's in our genre.
Mhm.
And after a while, we're like, everybody's doing it. Why do we need to do it? So we stopped doing it.
Mhm.
We would only pull it out, and this is going to sound really capitalistic. If someone wanted to hear it, well, you're going to pay.
That's
So
right.
there's the tip box. You want us to do it, we will do a good job, but you're going
That's
to
right.
fill that bucket up.
Hey, sometimes you got to put people in their place and remind them, we're not working for free.
Yeah, we're not puppets, right?
Exactly. Or jukeboxes.
Yeah, exactly. So that and I've stuck to our guns, and I don't know about your set list, but ours is there's probably about 30 recognizable songs. If someone collects records and stuff like that of the era, they'll recognize about 30 of them, or maybe the artists. But if we do something by I'm gonna try to name, let's say we do something by Louis Prima, who did Jump, Jive, and Wail.
Mhm.
We will also have a couple other tunes that he's done that maybe people aren't so familiar with. So we
Yeah.
kind of take that with Dinah Washington or Louis Jordan or whatever. We try to do things that everybody likes Caledonia, but
Yeah.
we can do that. But here, why don't you
Try
turn you
this
on
one.
to this tune? Right.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's definitely entertaining watching you guys. You're really fun to watch, and it's very tight. And the music is just, even if you don't know the music, it's really entertaining. So you guys do a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing you luck on finding that vocalist. Keep looking. He's out there somewhere.
Yeah, so we're doing the same formula with this group, where it is a 5-year niche of this great music that all of a sudden appeared,
Yeah.
mid 1960s. The guitar player Steve Cropper, Duck Dunn is the bass player. Everybody will recognize those guys as being the core group of the Blues Brothers.
Yep.
And Booker T, the organ player who did Green Onions, is part of that
Mhm.
group. They had such a unique sound, and then all these other singers and artists were coming and flocking to that Stax record
Yeah.
group and recording. So it all kind of sounds the same. So the first 25 tunes that we have charted already are probably the most recognizable. And then as soon as we find somebody, our next group of tunes is going to be really deep cuts of stuff that sounds really good.
Yeah.
That nobody's ever heard.
Ooh, I can't wait. That's going to be
I can't
awesome.
either.
I know. Well, at least you got some time to look before we can all get back out on the road. I mean, it's looking up now, but it's still going to be
On the road.
On the road.
Yeah. I always find it funny when we say, "Hey, we're on tour this year." Well, where'd you go? Well, we went up to Milwaukee for a weekend. Yeah.
Woohoo! Well, that is something I hope we do get to do, is go a little further out once we get back out there and expand our horizons a little bit. But we'll see what happens. I'm just happy to play anywhere at this point.
Right. It's all about money. And and I tell people this all the time that before COVID, we could play 7 nights a week, but do you want to play for $100 at a tavern, for the whole band and split it 7 ways? Or, the older you get, the less appealing that sounds, So, and the same thing, if you want to drive out to Rockford and do a show, they'll pay you the same thing as they're paying you here. And so why would they pay an out of town band, especially us 7 pieces, the same thing they can do for a 3-piece band, and they get the same results.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one thing I've learned from you too, is like we've always been able to discuss the business end of it and kind of, bounce things off each other and talk about different clubs and say, what was your experience with this club? Oh, don't ever play there. That guy check bounced twice, or things like that. So that's those are the people in my life that I really appreciate.
2020 has been really crappy for bands, but February was really rough for me. We were only booked for 4 times that month. The very first show, February 1st, a downtown hotel hired us. It took them 3 months to pay me. And I don't know how you operate, but when my guys come out and play, I pay them that night.
Yep.
Out of my pocket if I have
Me
to.
too.
And then the hotel I just saw that is going out of business. So, and then the next one was a private event. Well, it was a fundraiser. This guy, local dance academy or whatever, threw together a Valentine's Day, and I never asked for a lot of money for deposits, because it really, if they had to cancel for some reason, and to me it creates a really bad form. Well, I'm not going to give you back your 50% because you booked us, and I'm never going to hire you for anything else. So I take a smaller amount. But the night of, he owed me, and he says, "Can I write you a check?" Yeah, sure. I don't care. I'll take the check. Yeah, a week later, I get the notice from the bank that it was written on a closed account. And
so it wasn't even an accident.
No, it wasn't an accident at all. And he tried weaseling his way out of it. Oh no, that's not the way I operate. Well, apparently it is.
Yeah, right? Come on.
Right. So again, I paid everybody that night, and then when I found out, man, I'm scrambling to put funds to the bank, and I just now got paid 3 weeks ago from the guy.
Well, I'm glad it actually finally showed up. I would have had.
Yeah, and you know what? I called him repeatedly. I told him I was going to, file a small claims court, all this, and this is when I dig a little digging into him. This is normal business operating procedures for him.
Yeah.
I thought I'd never see it. I just called him out of the blue, said, "Hey, I need something," and all of a sudden, 2 hours later, he paid me through Zelle or whatever it was.
Okay, so it was for real.
So it's like, that was a close one, but it was a rough February, and all of a sudden, March 13th was the last time we played. Yeah, and that's it. No more. Everything was canceled.
Yep. Well, it's a good time to, like you said, sit back and kind of, regroup and
or figure out, or say, do I really want to do this?
Why am I doing this again?
Why am I doing this? And
what Why
Am I
was
going
this?
to do it again? Right. Exactly.
I know sometimes you do wonder, but then you get out on stage and you just forget about all of it, and the audience is there, and you're having
Oh, yeah.
fun, and you just go, "All right, I remember why."
So, you being a band leader, I don't know how you operate, but for me, everyone says, well, a band is a democracy. It's the democracy to a certain extent. For me,
Right.
if we're all talking about how to play a song, how to end it, song choices maybe might be a democracy, but we still have a track to follow.
Right.
As long as everybody knows that that's what it is, then sure, let's research that song or whatever. But when it comes right down to it, I'm the one that has the liability.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how. I've been sued
Insurance.
3 times.
Yeah.
Or threatened to be sued 3 times with legal papers.
Wow.
And when that stuff happens, it's like, well, if it's a democracy, then the drummer, the bass player, and the singer, and this person, are you willing to give me $1,000 to hire the lawyer each for the retainer? And everyone's like, no. Well, then it's not a democracy; it's a business, right?
Right. It is a business. Yeah, and
Oh.
as a leader, you do have to, take everyone's opinion into consideration. You want everybody to be happy, and you want everybody fully expressed, and feel like they're getting out of it what they're putting into it. But in the end, like you said, we're taking the risk. We're opening up the account and making the LLC and talking to the tax guy and paying the taxes on it and the whole 9 yards, and dealing with all these people hiring us.
Right.
That be the gamut of they like shower you with affection and feed you really well and free drinks and like give you a hotel room, or other side, you're lucky if you have a place to store your stuff and they tell you, I don't know what to tell you. You're like,
right. Or
your place, man.
Or you're in the middle and your band people are saying, hey, we need to get more money. How come we have to pay for drinks? And why can't I park in front of the place and all this stuff? And then you have the owner, the management saying, you guys started a minute late. There's not a lot of people here. What,
Yeah, exactly.
You're in the middle trying to.
Yeah. And sometimes you're just like,
balance.
Rip my hair out right now.
And so going back to starting another band, that's what was the problem, was like, why am I doing it? And you got to pay for websites. You're going to be sitting at hours at the computer for social media.
Yep.
I have these handy little things that I have to pay for, which are charts.
Yep.
And they're anywhere from, I don't know, $130 to $300 a piece. So if you got 20 songs, add it up.
Yep.
Then you've got the equipment, organizing 7 to 10 people to get together to rehearse. And, can you make it? Okay, let me call everybody else.
Where are you? We have rehearsal. It started half an hour ago.
Bob can make it on Tuesday, but not on Wednesday. Frank can make it on Wednesday, but not on Thursday. 7 o'clock. Oh no, 7:30. Okay, we can start at 8.
Then you get the time and the place, and it's all there, and they're late.
Right.
I'm ready. I'm like, come here.
Where's Bob?
Well, oh, traffic. My kid was sick. Oh my God.
Right. Bob, where are you? I don't know. 20 minutes away. So
my favorite line. I used to have a bass player that would do this to us. We would be at the gig. Where is he? I don't know. Call him up. Hey, where are you? We're at the gig. What gig?
What gig? Yeah.
And that happened more than once. I almost bought him a t-shirt that said, what gig?
What gig? Right. What gig? Right.
We'll still let everybody get the wrong idea, though.
We all have calendars on here with reminders.
We're all grown up.
We all have paper calendars. I mean, come on.
But hey, we love what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't do what we do, right? Because we're not doing it for the money or the fame or the,
Yeah.
being showered with cash.
so when I decided to put the second band together, I was weighing all of that. Like, man, it's going to cost a lot of money.
What am I thinking?
Headaches. And then I'm like, well, what am I doing? What am I going to go make a, killing at this? No, I'm going to do it for myself. And
Right.
as I tell
Better
people,
enjoy it.
if this is not a family show, I do it for shits and giggles.
Yep.
So it's music that I enjoy playing. It's stuff that I really enjoy. That's why I'm doing it, because I don't bowl, I don't golf.
And let's be honest, when you get into that rhythm and it's like a freight train and all the pieces are there and you just start traveling on down that track, it's like, oh man, that's what it's supposed to sound like. And then you see the audience reaction and they all
Right.
jump up on the dance floor and they're like, you guys are amazing. This was so much fun. Oh my God, I can't wait to see you again. I'm going to bring all my friends. That's why we do it. Because we just like, you nailed it. And you just like all those people working together as a team, all the time and effort you put into it, there's your product. It's like, yeah, that was cool.
Right. Well, what we like the most is like when, we all do those outdoor concerts. There's people out there who could really give a rat's butt what you're playing. All right, fine. I'll grab the cooler and we'll go sit in the park and listen to some, schmoes.
Yeah.
But when people come up to you and tell you how much they enjoyed it, or little kids will come up and staring at you, or people are just, you always have that one person who stands in front of the band, in front of everybody,
The whole night.
the whole night.
And in some shows, it's the same guy that follows you around.
Right.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. They just sit up there and they just do their Elaine dance.
Oh,
And
they're happy. They're so happy.
Right. At first, you're thrown by it in the beginning, but after years of seeing these people, there's always one in the crowd. You're like, you know what? That's pure joy.
Or they bring their own tambourine. I love that.
We had a guy. We used to play at Pete Miller's in Wheeling.
Uh-huh.
We're there. It was like a prison sentence because they never hired us for years. I tried getting in there for years.
I did too. I never got hired there.
I finally get in. We play one show, and you're supposed to do a Friday, Saturday, and it's a long night. You start at like 7 to 11 or 8 to 12, whatever. It's a long night. We got there and we played. All of a sudden, man, you guys, we need you here all the time. So they wanted to book us every other weekend at the Pete Miller's in Wheeling and then the one in Evanston.
Mhm.
And we're like, whoa, slow down. We like to play other places too, And there was a guy that used to show up at the bar and he brought his trumpet.
Oh
And he would
boy.
sit at the bar and play the trumpet along with us. And he would come in with these, he was a normal guy, like, you would see at a job site or someplace, but he'd come in with some ugly looking sweater. And it wasn't a joke. This was his clothing. One day he came in a jeans jacket that was bedazzled.
No
Nicole and I
way.
just like roaring over this. And then he would play the trumpet at the bar. And I guess he would do this for all the bands that would go in there. And he'd want to play with us. We're like, yeah, sure, come on up. We're playing in the key of B flat. He's like, I don't care. Can you read the charts? I don't need to. All right, dude, go ahead. And but I guess he got kicked out because he was doing it to all the bands. And
no.
they didn't like it. But for us, it was entertaining.
Yes, right. That guy's just trying to have fun. That's all. I mean,
Yeah.
well, we've been talking for a long time, and I could talk to you for another 5 hours about this stuff as usual. But I want to thank you for coming on the show. And I didn't mention to you, we always end the show with the tagline. So if you want to read the name of the band and then the tagline.
Yours?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to the Thank you for listening. You've been listening to the Secondhand Soul Band's Motown Funk and Soul review interview.
Yay. Thank you, Dave. It's been delightful.
Thank you, Kathy. Good luck for 2021.
You too. Bye.
Oh man, Dave, what would you tell the trumpet player?
It's so sad that was in Wheeling. Like I grew up in Wheeling, but I've played at Pete Miller's.
Well, it wasn't you, was it? Do you have an ugly sweater?
I don't play the trumpet. I definitely have some ugly sweaters, but No, I don't just go to places and try to screw people up. Like if somebody says like it's in the key of B flat, I don't care. Like I don't know unless you're in New York. Unless you're in New York where somebody's like trying to be a badass, like, oh, B flat. Oh, really? Let's do B.
Let's go.
Let's do F sharp. Let's do E. Let's raise it a half step every chorus. Like, if they're just like,
no, I don't think
care,
that was this guy's MO. Yeah.
they might not know what B flat means. It reminds me of this T-shirt. It was funny. It was at work. This guy had this. The game don't matter unless it has, and then it had a capital B and then a lowercase b. But the lowercase one was the flat symbol, you know?
Right.
And I was like, no, it's B flat. The guy's a marching band. Clearly, the game don't matter unless you have, you know,
B flat.
The game would be flat if it wasn't for us, right? It would. So they might have had a horrible football team, but a great band. But that's come on. What? Don't be dissing Wheeling, man.
No, it just happened to be in Wheeling. We get people like that at every show. We've played probably every single suburb of Chicagoland at this point because people will say, "You play there?" I'm like, probably. Like I don't even remember. They've all blended together at some point.
Yeah.
Then you get back there and you're like, "Oh, right, I remember this one now."
Yeah.
But I hope I didn't break the illusion of the rock star lifestyle that we lead, talking behind the scenes about all the things we have to deal with. But it's a reality, you know, running a band is a lot of work. And sometimes bands don't last because somebody doesn't want to do that job. So, you know, it's we've got a good team amongst us and we all pull our weight and do an amazing job to keep that train rolling on down the track. So thanks to you guys.
Hopefully the train gets started rolling soon. Like next summer.
We're getting there.
I'm really hoping it's a new world here.
I do see that on the horizon. I really do. Very hopeful. All right. Well, we got another show in the can, guys. It's 24.
Yep.
That's
all right. We'll see you next week for Big 25.
We want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow.
That's
happy
right.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Stay socially distanced. Don't make your grandma sick. And wear your mask and wash your hands and keep your distance. Says Mama Fern.
That's right. All right. Peace out, my friends.
Bye.
Hey, secondhand soul fam.